Are you tired of feeling stuck on social media, struggling to keep up with trends while juggling all the other youth pastor, church communications demands, like counseling and writing sermons, and heaven forbid, forgetting and losing your receipts? Well, let's make 2025 the year that you and your church dominate online without burning out, because we are in the definitive social media strategy for busy youth pastors and church leaders in 2025. This is my hybrid ministry guide, and we're going to look at 5 different core pillars: quality or quantity on social media, the announcement ratio, how often should you be announcing versus posting other content, what's the difference between the discovery or the social graphs era, how do we empower a team to help get stuff off our plate, and finally, what do? We hand this off to a volunteer and then mess it all up. Hey, don't forget, as always, if you're here on YouTube, that there are chapters down below at the bottom, and you can scrub ahead to the question that you want most answered. Welcome, my friends, to the Hybrid Ministry Show. Well, hey everyone, welcome to the Hybrid Ministry Show. My name is Nick Clayson, and I've been in youth ministry for 14 years, and I've been in content creation for 14 years as well, but I've really doubled down here in the last few, especially since COVID. And I don't know if you guys are familiar with or have heard of Gary Vaynerchuk, but if you're in marketing at all or interested in social media, you've maybe heard him. Also, if you're interested and into profanity or the New York Jets, you've also heard him. But Gary has a lot of great strategies for social media. The dude is a maniac with social media, like awesome about it. And it's because he knows the value in it. And he knows how to hack it. He knows how to gain customers and business and a following. And by the way, that's what we're trying to do as churches too, right? We're just trying to get people to be able to know and hear about the love and message of Jesus. And so what I've done is I've gone through and I've taken 5 ideas from Gary V, and I'm going to share with you what he says, but then I'm also going to help distill those and change those down for what we as churches should be doing. So the first piece of advice that Gary has is we're going to be asking this question, right? On social media, should we focus on quality or should we focus on quantity? Okay, here's Gary's advice. Ready? Check this out. Be everywhere. Create as much content as possible for every platform. So, quality or quantity? Well, both, right? I know you hate that answer because you're like, dang it, I was hoping you're going to say quality. Okay, here's what we need to be doing. We need to be doing at least a long form piece of content, especially if you're in youth ministry. 95% of teenagers, according to Pew Research, are on YouTube. All right. The good news about a long form piece of content is it can help create and produce the base for some of your short form social media pieces of content. But if you don't have that long form, then it's harder to clip stuff up. All right. So at a minimum, get an audio podcast. Next step, if you can do a little bit better than that, get that paired with a video. And even better than that, frankly, sit down, optimize it for video, talking head style, straight to camera, maybe edit it a little bit, shoot for that 8 to 12 minute mark, which is the most popular length of time for videos that are indexed on the YouTube algorithm. And in fact, I have all of that detailed and outlined for you in a playlist linked down below called YouTube for Youth Ministry. And then, as Gary says, create as much content as possible for every platform. So cut up your teaching content, however you're getting it, audio, back of the room camera, studio style YouTube video, whatever the case might be, create bite-sized pieces of content. My favorite tool is Opus Clip. It's super easy. It does it for me. Almost no editing. Check out the link down below to give Opus Clip a try. According to the internet's foremost authority, VIDIQ, 90% of the internet's traffic is considered to be short-form, vertical-based video. So don't just make content for your students, knowing that you need to do this, but start making content with your students. In fact, linked right here in a playlist, my easy and effective social media playlist is my strategy of how we capture, batch record 4 different styles of pieces of content and how I've handed those off to some students to edit. I also have linked down below our full studio guide, which is all of our gear. So if you grab my hybrid ministry strategy guide, which I've had out for now a year and a half, that will show you what I'm doing, how I'm doing, all the content I'm creating, and how to get started on YouTube for less than $100. But if you click the studio link, it will give you the elevated version of that gear, cameras, tripods, and lighting. Okay, next question. Should we post announcements on social media or just nah? Here's what Gary says, right? Give value before asking for something in return. It's his famous jab, 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 right hook strategy, okay? And so to answer the question, should we post announcements or just nah? Well, you should post both, but make it more fun, not for the sake of being fun, not just because we're trying to make social media less spiritual, but because that's why people are getting on social media in the first place, to be entertained or to be inspired or to be encouraged, okay? And so create content around that, okay? So for churches, like a jab could be spiritual practice videos, daily encouragements, some behind the scenes pieces of content, or even some fun short form content like I detailed and outlined in my easy and effective social media for youth ministries. But then your right hook, that might be your invitation for someone to attend an event or a Christmas service or an Easter service, right? My ratio recommendation is 4 pieces of fun content to 1 piece of announcement content. And your announcement content can be like those transition style videos, which I've outlined again in that playlist. That's one of the 4 of our social challenge. And those are the easiest to create and also the easiest to edit. Think about it like this. It's like I have a Patreon page. I've been talking about it for several episodes now in a row, but I didn't want to lead with this episode because I've seen my YouTube analytics drop as soon as I start talking about it. So I want to give value, and be like, oh yeah, hey, by the way, for only $4 more a month, $1 a week, I'm going to do a bonus podcast to help you be more creative. But it is a right hook. It is an ask, all right? And in the same way, when you're doing that for church, if you're only inviting to Sunday, you're only inviting to Easter, when are you giving? Where's the content that's going to help people and that's going to bring value to their lives? The third thing in the 2025 definitive social media guide is we are officially now in the discovery era. Long gone now is the social graph era. Okay, so here's Gary's advice: show up daily, even if it's small. Right? Brady Shear up at Pro Church Tools, he doesn't say daily, but he says show up consistently. No weeks off is his advice. So for churches, we got to understand that Dear Aunt Sally is who we used to be friends with on Facebook, right? Like Facebook really built its premise on being friends with actual human beings and keeping up with their lives. But like MySpace before that, we would rank our friends on social media. What insanity is that? And before that, we had a thing called Friendster. Like we literally was baked into the name. Like we were on social media for what? For social purposes. But COVID happened, and Meta, while it had a stranglehold on kind of all of social media at the time, realized that, well, Aunt Sally, she's not going to Cozumel anymore, which is what we would get on social for, is to see her post pictures of her trip. And so now we're like, well, people are spending all this time over here on TikTok. And so TikTok completely disrupted the industry, hence YouTube Shorts, Instagram Reels, and Facebook Reels, right? But now, when's the last time that you were on a Reels or TikTok or Shorts platform that you watched a video from somebody that you actually knew? Probably seldom, because Aunt Sally, those vacation pics, they're not making Reels for themselves, right? And she's only going, it's a once-in-a-lifetime trip. She hasn't been since the pandemic. She's nervous to fly. In the meantime, people are posting daily, regularly, right? As Gary says, show up as often as you can, even if it's a small step. And so the good news for churches is that we can show up regularly. There's a geographical component to the way these algorithms work. Even though they're mysterious, we don't know exactly how they work. People tend to see content based on what's local and regionalized to you. That's fantastic news for churches. So show up. Listen, I was in California a week ago for a conference, and the time change, it had me all messed up. But I was usually supposed to post 2 times a day. I was only getting 1 post out because I was busy and had other things going on. I didn't sweat it. It's okay. The time of day, the posting at a certain time, that doesn't matter as much anymore, because a piece of content can go viral from weeks, months, even years ago now at this point. We're now in the discovery algorithm For You page era. No longer Dear Aunt Sally's Cozumel trips. I'm so sorry that you don't get to see those pictures as often. Number 4, the definitive guide to social media for 2025. Find a way to empower your team. Gary says social media is not a team sport. And churches, let me just implore you, stop handing this off to the unpaid intern. Stop handing this off to your granddaughter because you think that she's a little bit more social media savvy. She is, but she's not a marketing person. This needs to be a group project. Millennials and Gen Z, and I'm sure Gen Alpha, if they were old enough for this Barna study, have said that the hybrid church is a good version of church for them growing forward. This is no longer an option. This is no longer keeping a few announcements to make sure that there's proof of life on your social feeds. No, it's time to go all in. Get some volunteers, hand things off. Listen, my best social volunteers are 2 7th grade homeschool boys who come in early before youth group and edit videos for me. If I can run an entire social media strategy with 2 7th grade boys, you too can find some volunteers that you can hand things off. And listen, that's why I have custom coaching. I can show you how to do it. I can help you get it up off the ground and get some scaffolding to this structure. And if you're like, dude, you can take me through coaching all you want, but at the end of the day, I'm still not going to be able to take it. That's okay. I can also just do it for you. That's why I offer church communications done for you. And for a fraction of a staff price, I will do it for you as a contractor. Check out both of the links to those below or down below in the YouTube video or in your podcast catcher. And number 5, last one of all, what if a student messes something up? Here's Gary's advice. Ready? Test different formats, times, and platforms until you find what works. Again, here's the good news of the discovery era. You can put a piece of content out, and even if it flops, people are going to forget about it tomorrow. Social media is a rushing rapid of a river. It is moving so fast. So keep testing, keep trying. If things don't work, that's okay. Get back up and keep it going. It is not as big of a deal as it used to be in the social graph era when Dear Aunt Sally was judging every single one of your church posts. Now, try something. If it hits, great. Do more of that. If it doesn't, awesome. Take note of that and adjust your strategy as you move forward. But a student, give them an opportunity to be a part of this. Give them a seat at the table to let them know that this church is about the next generation and that it matters. Again, it's no longer the day where we can just hand this off to an unpaid intern, hope that they keep our social media on life support. Get after it, my friends. 2025 is going to be your year. We are here in the Hybrid Ministry Show to help it out. Subscribe wherever you're on podcasts. Leave a rating, a review, like the video. However you can get the word out. We want to help you crush social here in 2025. I'm so excited to do it along with you. Thanks for being here. And don't forget, my friends, as always, to stay hybrid.